Welcome, everyone. I'm Joyce Graff. I'm the district governor-elect for Rotary's District 7910. We have with us Brenda DeVito from Weston Wayland to talk with us about how their club is structured and its secret sauce for success. Welcome, Brenda.
Thank you.
Great. And my co-host today is Mary Forster. Mary is the new president of the Rotary Club of Westford. And we also have with us Maddie Merchant of the Rotary Club of Montechusett area.
So I don't know much about Weston Wayland, except I've heard of some amazing projects that have come out of that club. And so I'd love to hear kind of your history in that club, just kind of set as a background, and then talk to you about kind of visioning how you select goals, how your club selects goals.
Okay. Well, I officially became a member in 2018, but had been helping my husband Richard and his father, who were both Rotarians, for many years before that, with the car show. So it became a family event that we actually did with the Rotarians. And I was very involved in basically doing everything a Rotarian did. And finally, Jan Luchetti said, just become a member. You do everything anyway. So I said, fine. They wore me out. And I said, okay. So that's my history. I was president last year. And my husband's been president 2.5 times, 2.25 times. So it is in the family and we work together. As far as planning, visioning, about 3 years ago, when John Marchioni during COVID was the president, we did the first visioning. And what we found is that our club wanted to do more hands-on volunteering in the community. So in the last 2 years, I actually sort of jumped on that bandwagon and tried to make connections with other entities in our communities. Now we're 2 communities, we're Weston and Wayland. And that is great because we have more people to coordinate with and opportunities. And it's tough that there's sort of this Weston Wayland competition between the two. And so trying to get people from Wayland has been difficult, and it's been 50 years, our club, and it's been difficult getting people over from Wayland. So we're trying to do more in Wayland. As far as envisioning and planning, we sort of have an ongoing schedule of events that we do, and we try not to do too much to get people burnt out, but enough that we keep everybody engaged and in projects that they like.
So then you went looking for more hands-on projects to do, or?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. And you called upon the members to select them, or is it something that you did from the leadership level?
I actually did that before I was in the leadership level. We formed a small team. We work a lot in teams. So we, 3 or 4 people got together and said, let's go out into the communities and look for areas that we can volunteer and we can help our communities. So one was the Council on Aging, our food security programs, going to the pantries.
That's an interesting thing. Supporting activities outside of your towns?
Yes and no. So Bristol Lodge, we've been doing for about 40 years, and that's in Waltham. We do support some Waltham programs. Another food pantry is in Wayland, and then there's another one in Lincoln that we usually support financially with donations. We might do Happy Dollars for 1 month that go to one of the pantries.
One of the things that we wanted to highlight here is that the Rotary Club of Weston Wayland has won Best Club of District 7910 for 3 years running. So the third of those years you were the president. And so I'm curious about how you maintain that momentum and maintain continuity of leadership.
First of all, we historically did not apply for those Club of the Year, didn't do those rubrics, and they just did their club things and went along the way. When John came in, John was very excited to do anything to, have more recognition for all the work that the club did. So he did the rubric and ended up having a lot of, points in that, and we got the Club of the Year. And then, so we consecutively now have done the rubric, and we know what's in the rubric, so you know what you need to do to sort of boost your game.
Right. So the first guideline there is if you don't apply, you will
You
definitely
don't get
not
it.
win.
That's right. And this past year, I think he said there are only 9 clubs out of 40 or something like
50
that
-ish,
actually
yeah.
did the work. So
Right.
what I did was I gave all of my people in those categories, I said, here, tell me what you did in this category and that category, and had everybody give me the information, then we put it into the rubric. So it was a little bit easier doing it that way than trying to do it all on your alone.
So it is a little bit piece of work, but do you find that it's beneficial for the club to do that work and take a look in the mirror and see, wow, we've really done a lot?
Right. Yes. That and seeing areas that you could improve on, like, or we do this stuff, we just do a little bit more, like, we want to get more into international service. So that was one area that we've been weak in. So that highlights areas that you can improve on.
Mhm.
And definitely, then promotes what you've actually been doing. And when you see how much you're doing, it's like, wow, we did a lot this year. So it's reflective. So
So it sounds like reporting is really important. And like our club does a lot of stuff, but it doesn't seem to be registered anywhere. And
yeah,
so
yeah.
it seems like for presidents, an emphasis on reporting is important.
We basically have our wheel every week that tells everybody what we're doing, what's coming up, and that keeps everybody informed, and they have lots of different opportunities to do good service around the community. So that's sort of our record too of all the activities that we're doing.
So the wheel is an email or
Yep, that's our weekly email to our email list is up to about 1,000 now. And we gather emails wherever we can. We had a fishing derby in April, and we had registrations done on a Google form. And we were able to capture a bunch of emails there. And I asked, one of the questions was, would you like to join our email list? And then would you like to volunteer for anything in the community? We got 5 or 6 people say, yeah, put me on your list and I'd love to volunteer at another event.
So obviously, if you're sending to 1,000 people, you're sending to more than just the membership. Your membership
absolutely.
is what, 50 something?
56, 58 maybe now.
Okay, great. And that's wonderful. But the other 950 people are folks in the community who, as you say, may be interested to volunteer. They may be potential sponsors, or we're just keeping them informed about the good works that Rotary is doing in the community.
Yep.
How do you keep track of those folks? Do you put them in at the other users list in?
Yeah, so we have a contact list, and we have custom contact lists. So any of our RILA families that come, the kids, we have separate RILA email lists. And when you're doing an email like the wheel, we can choose any of those lists to send those. So they're growing lists as we go.
So they're custom lists in Club Runner.
Correct. Yep.
Great. Great.
This is really helpful. We've been hearing kind of mixed things about Club Runner.
We have many people who are in there and have different jobs. We have a public image team that does the stories. One person specifically does the website. We have a team that actually does the wheel on a weekly basis. All of that comes out of Club Runner. When we have events, we can email people who've signed up and remind them that they've volunteered, and we can invite people from those events.
So you can export that, and then if you need to do some.
No, you can actually do it from Club Runner. Yeah,
Okay.
so if you create an event, you can also email directly
Wonderful.
asking people to volunteer or invite them to attend.
Mhm. So as club president, you did all this yourself?
Oh, no, we have teams of people. You know, we have our membership team, Jan. We have 3 people or 4 people on our membership team that when we get contacts, when people come to an event, we get their email, ask them if they'd like to be on our list, and she adds them in. So the whole idea of being president is, I would say, delegate. And we have really strong teams. We have, like our membership team, we have our public image team, we have our sponsorship team, we have and then each event has its own team. And, so our children's business fair has a team. The car show has its own, so one person isn't doing all of this. Literally, it is a team of people doing all these different things.
Wonderful. And as different from just having a membership chair who is kind of responsible for our club is very casual. And, one person would be responsible for membership. But I like the team idea. And I've set up a few teams, but I like this really a lot.
Yeah. And then our teams, we actually meet on Monday afternoons or evenings via Zoom. And that's how most of our work is done, is by our teams on our Monday calls. So they might meet bi-weekly or monthly, depending on, they may even go weekly right before an event. But that's really how our work gets done, is on those team meetings.
Okay. Excellent.
So speaking of teams, tell me about the leadership team and how that works. You've got your immediate past president, yourself, your president-elect, your vice president. How do those people interact?
I started last year really telling people that, the executive team is really a 3-year commitment. So when you're vice president, you're working on some things. Hopefully then, I actually had 2 vice presidents in hope that one of those 2 would then move up to president-elect, and it worked. So we sort of invented those 2. We added more to our board. So we have, 14 or so on our board between executive secretary and secretary directors. So there's more people that have more experience in hearing what's going on in the background and being involved. And then from there, the leadership, that's where we pick from our future leadership, is people who've had that experience on the board, been involved. So really that 3-year term of expecting to be president-elect, president, and past president. So the past president, isn't off not doing anything. I'm really mentoring Katja now, and helping her along the way. So consider it a 3-year term that you're really involved in the leadership.
So Katja Portnaya is the current president of Western Wayland, and you're
Yes.
the immediate past president. And so
Right.
you're still in there as coach and reference and so forth.
Yep. As well as, back onto the teams that I did before being president on a regular basis, public image and sponsorship and, helping out.
Right. I see that as a strength in a number of strong clubs, that there's a leadership team of people working together, and it's not just one person. You're not like queen for the year. It's being a link in a chain, or a relay race where you run your bit, but then there are others around you. The team as a whole has to succeed, not just the one person.
Yeah, you can't do it with one person.
Certainly the stronger clubs do seem to have more of this team approach at the top, because strong leadership is one of the key factors in having a successful club. And that doesn't mean just one boss. It means a group of people who form that chain of leadership over several years.
Right. And
Wonderful.
when somebody isn't strong in one, delegate it off to the vice president, or, somebody, we always say that we're a family. We're really a family all together doing good stuff for the community, and we're there to help each other out. So if somebody is, you have family issues, you have, health issues, whatever, somebody steps up and will take the reins. I mean, we had one president not be able to be president because of health issues. And so the last 4 presidents actually took a quarter. So we're not going to let our club fail. We're all there, for the right reason, and to keep things moving.
Excellent. Yeah, and we're all busy professionals, so a lot of times you have business travel or a family vacation or something like that, and knowing that you have people who can step right in and keep things moving is really wonderful. It takes a lot of pressure off the individual who is president for the year.
Wonderful. One of your activities that I found just so fascinating was the children's entrepreneurship activity. And I remember hearing about that just as I joined a Rotary, and what an amazing idea that is. And have you been able to do it like around COVID, or?
So this was after COVID. So it's been 2 years running now. That literally happened. We were selling Christmas trees, and a gentleman came in, and we started talking about Rotary, and one of your questions was, how do you decide on what your club projects are? Really, it's the interest of the members. And this member came to us. He's like, I've been looking to do this children's business fair. I have, the basis of it. And then he sold it to us, basically said, okay, let's do it. So we made it happen.
Wow.
So now we've had 3 of them, and we went from having, 50 applications to 100 applications to 125 applications for 50 spots. So, yeah, so that's been extremely successful. And it is actually a national organization. So it's not, we didn't come up with this. It's a national organization called the Acton Children's Business Fairs. So you can look it up. It's not Acton, Massachusetts. It's actually Acton, Texas. You actually use their website and their marketing materials and things like that to promote this, and anybody can do it. There's actually this series. These kids go hopping around to all these children's business fairs around the area.
And membership, did that drive much membership? I mean, I would imagine parents are so connected to their children's interests and successes.
We do get people that say these are wonderful things that you're doing for the community. They might volunteer for the next year. We've actually had one of the kids who had a business aged out, and she came back and was a judge for us.
Oh.
So, and her parents are, so excited about it, and they come, we've had a lot of kids come and volunteer at the Christmas tree sale. So we're trying to connect all and get these connections in our community. And they're like, oh yeah, Rotary, you know, my oldest son had the RILA award and went to the conference, and now they're doing the children's business there.
So what kind of elements in your club do you feel are particularly attractive to new members? What drives people to join you?
One, I think we started during COVID, and we were every single week we met on Zoom, and we kept going. We didn't stop. When we could, we met outside and kept our spaces, you know, and had gatherings or picnics or whatever. We are a very active club, and we're very open to new ideas. So if somebody has this interest in, you know, the children, you know, doing something, the Pooch Parade was another one. Somebody came in and they loved dogs and they wanted to do a Pooch Parade and festival. It all depends on what, you know, is the interest of people. It's like this year we didn't do it because we didn't have anyone interested in chairing it. So we said, you know what, then we're not going to do it. We don't have the interest. We're not, you know, you got to have somebody that's going to run it, or we're not doing it. So
Right. So there's interest, and then there's also capacity that, you know, can we take on yet another project in this new
Right.
area, right?
Right. And we've limited ourselves to 3 major projects.
Mhm.
So it was the Children's Business Fair, the Christmas tree sale, which was an opportunity that we were able to take over the Christmas tree sale in Weston from one of the churches who just did not have the capacity to do it any longer. And they happily gave it over to us, and we continue the tradition. So there's opportunities in working with other entities and nonprofits in your community to collaborate
And
events.
so your third major project is your car show? Is that the third major one?
We did that for 25 years, and during COVID, we didn't do it during COVID, so now we're getting back to that.
So tell us when and where you meet, because it seems to me that convenience and atmosphere are also elements in inviting people to join and their ability to join you.
Yeah, we meet at the Weston Golf Club on Thursdays from like 6:15 to 7:30. Sometimes the golf club is not available, and we'll find other venues like the Scout House, the public library, the Council on Aging, and meet at restaurants, you know, if we have a smaller crowd. But yeah, it's typically more consistently at the golf club. And that's good and bad, because some people don't have a problem paying $32 for a meal every week. Other people do. So we've actually having some more off-site sort of picnics or pizza or whatever.
Always in the evenings?
Always in the evenings, yes.
Okay.
We're an Thursday evening club.
What are areas in the club that you'd like to see strengthened or changed, or you think are evolving into something different?
I think with every club, we'd love to have everybody involved in doing, you know,
Member
we
engagement.
were in
Yeah.
Scouts and Rotary is, you know, you get your 20% of people that do most of the work.
Mhm, mhm.
Just getting more people involved, whether it be background, you know, team meetings and helping behind the scenes. Most of the people come out and they help during the events, the big events that we have. They're all hands on deck. You know, don't plan anything for September 23rd, 23, unless you're in jail or dead. You don't have to come every single week. So now we've sort of changed it to, we'd like you to do something, either an event or a meeting at least once a month, sort of upping the game a little bit and getting people more involved and at the meetings on a regular basis.
expectations. You're increasing expectations.
Yeah, so with the new people coming in, we actually created a new form. This is your path to becoming an active Rotarian. We're saying active Rotarian, not just a Rotarian. We want active Rotarians that are going to do work. So they come in, they get assigned a mentor. You get put on a team. What are your interests? Where do you want to go? Sign up. We brought physical sign-up sheets this past week. We had an assembly and we printed them up and put them on each table and said, sign up for a team right now. Everybody should be on at least one team. So we had 10 or 15 new people sign up for teams.
Good. Excellent.
So that was something that worked.
Excellent.
So a lot of this is great. What is some advice to maybe scale this for a smaller club? Because you mentioned your club having over 50 members. Mine has under 15.
15.
What would be some advice you would give for maybe a smaller club, you know, who wants to be involved but maybe doesn't have that capacity or strength in numbers?
Find the right people to be, you know, the lead on membership and public image. You know, each person should have like a specific job. Somebody's gonna, you know, do the website or the emails. Having obviously more people in those teams is easier, but specific jobs so people know what they're responsible for and get more members.
And you know, it's all kind of circular in that the elements that we're hearing, strong leadership is number one, which doesn't mean it all falls on you. As you've heard us say, you need to have a chain of leadership that's going to go well beyond you. And secondly, that you need to have a welcoming atmosphere. Make sure that when people come, they're recognized, they're appreciated. You try to enroll them in doing some activity with you as soon as possible, whether they actually join or not. Sort of cultivate them as friends of your Rotary Club. And some of those friends do develop into members. What else would you point out?
Yeah, I would say getting connected with the other associations in your town and working together on if you have a big idea for something that you don't have the capacity for people, join with another entity, whether it be a booster club or a sports club or whatever, to try to work on a project. You'll get members that way too. They'd be like, oh, this is what Rotary does. We also do a lot of public image. We do, I mean, you've got to get the word out there to tell your community what you're doing. And I go post on our site and put it out into the public domain so they know what you're doing. We don't have a newspaper anymore in town. So that's really our only newsworthy, you know, social media is a way to get it out there. Putting up posters around the community. This is what your Rotary Club is doing. Join us, volunteer.
And the other thing too is a few Rotaries have gotten together to do some amazing projects, such as the Department of Children and Families. So there might be 3 or 4 Rotaries that you can do things with. So to capitalize on those 20% that are pretty much doing everything.
Right. And I think the other element that you point out to many times, Mary, is just the energy in the room. So not only the welcoming energy, but also we're a group of friends. We're here for service. We're doing interesting things. And that is very magnetic. It pulls people in. Because they want to be part of the fun, they want to be part of that energy.
One other thing, we do these big projects and, they started out very small. The car show started with 10 cars. You do what you scale it to what you're capable of doing, and then it grows, and then people become more interested. And, oh, I'll help with that. And then your program grows and grows. So they don't start out as these big, huge projects. They start out small and they
Mhm.
build year to year to year. So,
So any other particular words of wisdom that you'd like to impart to presidents who are launching into their first round of presidency?
delegate when you can, delegate. Yeah. Because there's a lot of stuff that you do and you can get overwhelmed. And I think just asking people and actually asking people, just don't put it out there, you know, who could do this, who can do that. Go up to somebody and say, I hear that you're really good on the computer or on social media. Could you help us with our social media team? Personally asking people has been very successful for our club.
Great. Thank you all so much.
This has been really wonderful.
Maddie and Jean, thank you very much for being with us. And thanks to everybody. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Good luck to you, new presidents.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank
Joyce.
you.
Thanks, Brenda.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.